Well, the pre-season is complete. It's finished. We are hopefully ready for the Premier League campaign next Monday against Fulham, the Fulham derby, as we conclude and reflect and pick the bones out of a 3-1 win for Xabi Alonso's Chelsea over Real Sociedad, or, if you use them as a fancy Premier League name, Real Sociable Dad. First start for Morgan Rogers. First game at Stamford Bridge. Scored a goal. One of the easier goals he will ever score. A lovely brace from João Pedro. Reece James starting in midfield. Very close to what I would deem Xabi Alonso's strongest starting lineup. Or close-ish too. Maybe you could say Pep Chavarria starting over Marco Palestra, who I think is going to be a little bit of a utility man right and left. But man, just the subs coming on in this game. I know we need to make some sales like your Dissercies, your Benoit Badiashils to follow, you know, the players we've already sold, George, Santos, Chalobah, and all the rest of them, and Cucurella. So there's still players to go, but there's a lot of good players coming on. When you see these, like, you know, your freaking, obviously, Penders, but just feel like your Hattos. We'll speak about Enzo Fernandez and the BOOS and all that, but Gusto, Champong, who could go on loan to Coventry, where Chelsea News will return tomorrow. You know, first choice left back Chavarria coming on, probably second choice left back Hatto. Lavia is looking really good, man. Like, I've been two players that I've been defending that have like always been injured are Lavia and Fofana. Like, you know, Gittins, Esteva, all these man off the bench. Kenda didn't come on, but he's a really exciting player. We've got Valentin Barco to come on. Like, for a season with no Europe, there is a lot of players to come on and a lot of quality there. But we're going to get into it, gang. This game, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Lots of stuff to discuss. A strong midfield partnership from Caicedo and Reece James. I wonder if that's going to be it. Like, that's the partnership, you know, and Enzo doesn't start? I don't know. Enzo Fernandez is not staying at Chelsea in a no Champions League season to not be in the starting 11. Strap yourselves in, gang. Do this, please. Like and subscribe if you want to support me. That's really kind of you on here on YouTube. You can follow me and 5-star rating me on the podcast platforms if you want to put a little bit of extra effort in to help your boy out. But, yeah, man. Like, let's get into it. Hold on. Is that... who... Arsene Sakarian playing for them? Is that the kid we were going to sign donkeys ago? Let's take a look, shall we? So here we are. 3-1 to the Chelsea. João Pedro with a beautiful brace. Morgan Rogers scoring a goal. Didn't drop the cold celebration. Too early. Too early for this. Especially for a goal like that, which is a little bit fortuitous. But, you know, they all count, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the SofaScore graphic to utilise for reference. Not great in the first half from Chelsea. Of course, they scored a goal at the end of the half. Much better in the second half. It looked like Xabi Alonso-Ball. That was really quite dominating. We'll speak about their goal. It was actually a bit of a gift from Palestra, who's probably the only player in this starting 11 that maybe wouldn't be starting against Fulham. I would question. I think Pep Chavarria will come in to be that starting left wing back. So... he made a bit of a mistake for that goal. We'll speak about the goals in just a moment. But this is how we lined up. 3-4-2-1 with Rogers and Palmer playing on the inside. Pockets, the width being held by right wing-back Pedro Neto. Definitely will deserve some speaking here because he looks like he's just made for that role. I think he could just be a starting wing-back for us over the likes of Malo Gusto and Palestra. Remember, Palestra's preferred side is the right side. So I think, you know, Gusto probably should be sold, really. Maxence Lacroix, new signing, coming in the middle of a back three, just like he did at Crystal Palace. He played in the centre. Levi Colwell, who's excellent at playing in the centre, of course, is a left footer, so he's still more naturally left-sided playing on the left. And Wesley Fofana, man, again, like Lavia... been defending him since we signed him. I love Wesley Fofana as a defender. And do not be surprised if this back three is the starting three centre-backs. Really well balanced. If you look at how they play, Lacroix generally stayed back. Do we have heat maps? Yes, we do. And that probably is staying back, considering how much we pressed up the pitch. Levi Cole will really push forwards. And as you can see here on his heat map, way more. He spent more time, about equal amount of time in the opposition half as he did the defensive half when Maxence Lacroix was the deepest of the three. He's up the recovery, man. Very, very impressive and vocal. Wes also pushing up. So both the wide centre-backs do push up really, really high in support to create overloads for Xabi Alonso's Chelsea Football Club tactics. Yeah, I think that is a really well-balanced back three, and it was really, really noticeable to see Lacroix immediately super vocal. I heard Dominic Fifield of The Athletic, who's a Crystal Palace fan, it's saying, look, Chelsea are getting a guy who is a leader. You know, he's very, very vocal. And it's nice to see him immediately deploy that trait here in the Chelsea starting lineup and just shout at people. He's telling him to squeeze up, telling people where to go, congratulating Rob Sanchez, who made an excellent save in this game, it has to be said, while it's still in my cranium to remember. Huge talking points, of course. Not so much the wing-backs. We knew Pedro Neto is sort of going to get deployed as this attacking wing-back. Really interesting to see him hold that space. It's giving Victor Moses 2016. Now, I do not want to do too much synergy here, but finishing 10th, bringing in a top 5 league winning manager with no Premier League experience to come in and play a back three and repurpose a winger as a wing-back. We're going to win the Premier League. There's no other way about it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Palestra, left wing. I think generally he's been very, very impressive, Palestra. But, you know, young man, plays on both sides. And when he's so two-footed that when he plays left wing back, he uses the appropriate foot on both sides and sticks to it. So he's so young to be so prolific with both feet. It's really good. Caicedo, of course, amazing. Reece James, amazing. I think this might be the, dare I say, starting pivot to save Reece James' hamstrings. It showed you with his assist that, you know, he put his foot on the ball, received it after some great work from Cole Palmer. Just literally lofted it onto the head of Joao Pedro. Beautiful inside. He's got such an amazing range of passing, Reece James. I mean, Xabi Alonso, of course. Want to talk about passing midfielders? Alonso is your guy. So he'll look at what Reece James can do in midfield in terms of passing and be like, yes, please. So that's great. Rodgers, of course, and Palmer starting. What else can you say about Joao Pedro apart from he's absolutely insane? 4-2-3-1 deployed by Real Sociedad. Didn't have the best season last campaign, but you know, they're a serious side. They're a top 5 league side, and it's, you know, it's an examination of sorts. The main thing, like I said, is seeing how we're playing, seeing how we're deploying players, fitness, form, and stuff like that. We'll talk about the substitutes and the Enzo Fernandez sort of half drama, really, after we go through statistics and timeline. Let's do timeline first. So in the first half, it was a little bit of, you know, pretty even, ultimately. We started well. Morgan Rogers getting the goal in the 11th minute. Lovely feel-good factor at Stamford Bridge. First game there for Xabi Alonso. And obviously, first game for Morgan Rogers, because obviously he, like Reece James, like Enzo Fernandez, has only just returned back from the World Cup break. Scored a goal. It was a little bit of a, you know, scrambly tap-in, so he didn't drop the cold celebration, but he gave Cole Palmer a big hug, which is lovely to see. And of course, they equalised right at the end of the half. Worth mentioning, it was kind of a Palestra mistake. It was a clearance, but it was a sort of bit of a, you know, it's a silly clearance. He didn't think it through properly. He sort of clears it right into the danger area, you know, and it basically lands on the number 2's foot. Who is that then? Is it the fullback, the right back, I think? Yeah, Arambaru. And he volleys it into the bottom corner. It sort of lands for him and sits up for him perfectly. And that is from a Palestra poor clearance. So that's how they got their goal. They did have chances. I don't want to say that was their only thing. And we did have defensive issues in that first half. But that's how the goal happened. Obviously came out, scored a really nice early goal. That aforementioned Reece James to Joao Pedro. Header at the back post. He really bullied the other guy. I don't know if it was the right back or centre back. He sort of was like, you know, despite only being 6 foot, I think, Joao Pedro, he's really dominant. Scores a lovely header, does what all good strikers should do when they're meeting a header in the box and heads it into the ground. Keepers hate that because they can never save them. And it's 2-1 to Chelsea. Great start, you know, great, suddenly looking really special, having that, you know, passing range and ability and, like, you know, cerebral lucidity of Reece James in the midfield, so he can make those little shorter passes. Beautiful scenes, and Joao Pedro just on absolute flames. We're seeing changes now, of course. Pendes comes on for Sanchez. Gusto comes on for Rodgers, so that is like a little bit of a change. I think Gusto is playing right back, and then Neto moves a little bit forwards, I think. So it's still, I think, a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2. But yeah, let me just quickly look at the Malo, because Malo Gusto gets an assist for the second goal. I'm just going to quickly look here. This is Malo Gusto's heat map. So yeah, it's kind of a sort of right back, I suppose, right wing backy, but the shape's probably a bit asymmetrical at that point. Lacroix for Achampong, so sort of, centre back for centre back, and a central midfielder in Reece James now. For central midfielder Enzo Fernandez. I'll talk about Enzo in just a second. They make a bunch of changes, we make more changes. Impressive to see. I do really think Chevalier didn't do much, but he looks quite comfortable and assured. Estevao looks like he's sort of trying a little bit too hard. Lavia made a couple of excellent passes. I think he'll be a really useful asset for us, Romeo Lavia, and provided he can stay fit, he will be a midfielder that Xabi Alonso likes. And Joao Pedro getting a lovely goal from, of course, the assist was the through ball from Malo Gusto. A wonderful through ball, really long, and just had the right amount of legs on it. The ball, Joao Pedro runs onto it, finishes it far post. Absolutely on flames, this boy. Carlo Ancelotti, last time I say it, blood on your hands for Brazil, but I'm happy you didn't pick him because he looks like he's on like a revenge demon arc, a villain arc, and he's going to just score loads of goals and show everyone. So let's have a look at the statistics, shall we? Hold on. He has the stats. Let's do half and half because it is a game of two halves. We created one big shot. Oh my God, they had 10 shots to our 3 in the second half. 3 goalkeeper saves, one of which was an excellent one from Rob Sanchez, but we did create the only big chance, which did result in a goal. Their goal wasn't considered a big chance, and they scored. But like I said, it was that Palestra miscue clearance. Second half was a lot better from us. We doubled the shots of theirs. We still only created one big chance, but we scored 2 goals, which is fine. 12 shots to their 6, 4 corner kicks to their 1. So we saw our new glam rock set-piece coach, Austin McPhee, Scottish warlord, step up. Shout out to the players. And, pretty good. Everyone gets a run out. Loads of good players, man. Like, we're kind of fine instead of his 5.9 rating, bless him. He did come on and look a bit he looked a little bit erratic. He needs to chill out. Maybe he feels like now there's another little Portuguese-speaking winger in Kenda that he needs to, keep his star boy status. But he's got plenty of time and everything should be okay. Right, so let's talk about player performances. And that will, of course, include the Enzo Fernandez and the booing and stuff like that. In goal, Rob Sanchez, pretty good. Made a good save. The goal wasn't really his fault, so very passable from him. I don't think he necessarily made any miscued passes. He will be Chelsea's number 1 for at least the first half of the season, and we will see if Mike Penders grows into it. Penders came on. He's looked quite comfortable in a couple of fleeting appearances, and he's going to be used. He's going to be used in the cups. He's going to be used if there's an injury. He's going to be used if he just is better than Sanchez throughout the season. So he will be given his chance. The back three I was very impressed with. Lacroix looks like he's slotted in immediately. SofaScore here has Fofana the highest rated, Lacroix the second highest rated, and Colwill the third. I mean, for me, that's a starting back three. Chelsea have always really rated Wes Fofana, provided he can sort out the sort of petulance, the red card he got at the end of the last season. Did he get 2 red cards last season? I mean, it's disgraceful stuff, really. There is an amazing player in Fofana. If he's buying into the Xabi Alonso good vibes team, happy team, and he can be fit every week, 1 game a week, that is a formidable back three. The talent there is incredible, and of course Lacroix being like the oldest at 26, he's the senior guy, and he's won a couple of trophies recently. Well, so was Colwill and Fofana under Maresca. They won a couple of trophies recently. Generally quite happy with the back three. It's going to be a bit more about the team developing a defensive structure to stop silly goals and silly clearances. Palestra's look really good. He's all action. He always looks like he's in the wars, like he's really annoyed or stressed out or knackered. But maybe that's just his demeanour and how he carries himself. But he's been a very bright spark. I think he's an excellent... So far, he's looked like an excellent purchase in terms of, like, the positional versatility. Like I previously said, completely two-footed. And he's got really good technical link-up play with whoever he's being assigned to play next to. whether it's on the right or the left. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be a starter. I think he'll start games, but I think at the moment, if I had to guess, in a week's time of another week training, I think it will be left wing back is going to be Pep Chavaria and Pedro Neto at right wing back. So I think we'll see that, and I think we'll probably see Reece James and Caicedo in midfield. And I think probably we will see Enzo Fernandez still sold. I've just got a feeling. In terms of players, João Pedro, I can't wax lyrical about him enough. He's just incredible. Headers, overhead kicks, running through on goal, holding up the ball, 1-2 touch link-up plays, dribbling, playing as a second striker off a main man or whatever. He just looks amazing. Cole, I think, looks great. He didn't get a score or assist here. He's only got a 6.7 rating on SofaScore, but I think he looks way more confident. The crowd are getting off their feet again when he's on the ball, when he's like shimmying, doing cutbacks and, Cruyff turns and all that kind of stuff. And he's looking like his confidence is back. He's well rested and he looks really happy, which is great. And his game will develop. I don't think he's going to explode with numbers like he did in the Poch season, because I still think and maintain to this day that was kind of conducive to the chaos Pochettino ball that he, as an individual, thrived on. But I think the team, defensively, maybe, suffered a little bit. So I think in a really good team, a really good structured team where we can win games and hopefully titles, it's not necessarily going to be conducive to like Cole Palmer just scoring loads of goals and getting loads of assists. But hopefully Chelsea will score loads of goals and win games. Morgan Rogers, great moment for him to score on his Chelsea debut, Stamford Bridge debut. Lovely scenes, even if it was a little bit of a scrappy goal. And I suppose we should talk. I mean, who else off the bench before we... I mean, there's no one really notable. Gusto got an assist. Hato came on. Chavaria had his debut. Got welcome. Josh came on. I still think Josh might get loaned out. Dario Sugo didn't come on. I think he'll get loaned out. Coco Barco or Valentin sitting on the bench. He didn't play yet. I think he'll probably... I can't imagine he'll get loaned out. He's just got here. So let's talk about Enzo. Yeah, he came on. He got massive boos. Apparently when he his name was read out in terms of the squad at Stamford Bridge, he got loads of boos in the stadium. And then when he came on, there was huge boos. There were some Chelsea fans that replied, obviously feeling differently, by chanting, "Oh, Enzo Fernandez," the song, "Oh, Enzo Fernandez." But then also when he was touching the ball, he was getting loads of boos. As he was coming on and the Stamford Bridge crowd was booing, Reece James obviously relinquished the captain's armband to go on Enzo's arm. So it was very interesting to see that was still the procedure, giving Enzo the captain's armband, and he sort of like whispered and gave him a hug. I can imagine you'd just be like, just go and show him, go and like do your thing, man, and prove to them or something. So I imagine something of encouragement from the Chelsea skipper. And to be fair, he looked pretty good. Enzo did look pretty good. He was combative. He nearly scored. Was it an Olympico off the corner? Well, and he nearly scored a header as well. Hit the top of the netting and did a really good piece of defensive work in his own defensive third, combining with Caicedo. He's a quality player. I don't think anyone's doubting that. But yeah, it's the whole Argentina thing in England. I did say, if we keep Enzo Fernandez, or if he goes to Man City, he will be booed up and down the country by Premier League English fans. That was just always going to happen. I didn't necessarily think he was going to get booed by his own teammates, his own Chelsea fans, his own team's fans immediately. Obviously, it's still fresh. He can probably, if he does stay at Chelsea, he can heal that, score a few goals, play well for the team. Xabi says some positive stuff about him, starts kissing the badge again, all that classic stuff. Chelsea fans will heal him, and it will only be Chelsea fans will heal, and they won't boo him, and then it will only be the opposition fans again up and down the country booing him, because that will happen. But is he prepared to have that? The only interesting thing is, I think, by looking at this lineup, again, just to look at it again, you swap Palestra for Chavaria, and then what else? Over time, maybe Penders usurp Sanchez. But that's the front three you want. You want Caicedo and Reece James on the pitch. You could argue if Pedro Neto's form drops, he could go. You could argue if Wesley Fofana's form drops, Reece James could go there, and then Enzo could go at Reece's. I mean, that's a possibility, right? But ultimately, it's it's fascinating to see. It's a great amount of quality there. I'm starting to feel really confident. There's just something about being a Chelsea fan and feeling that warm, fuzzy security, doing the Cole Palmer, with a back three system. I've said many times I don't think the back three can win the Premier League anymore. But I said that a year ago, plus a few more years ago as well. Now Pep's gone, now Jurgen Klopp's gone, now the game has become much more robust again, and that's how Arsenal won the title last season. There might be an opening for a back three system to actually win the league again. I felt like it had to be a 4-3-3 possession team these last few years, but now, because things are changing and football is cyclical, there might be an opening, and it's wouldn't it, the synergy, 10 years later, it takes every 10 years, you have to finish 10th, and then bring in a back three manager who's won the title somewhere else in Europe to come and win the Premier League. We can only hope. What do you think, gang? Please do like and subscribe here on YouTube. Do considering following and 5-starring on your podcast apps. There's more content on the second channel, Football Yannick. Do consider that, checking it out if you want to. And see you soon, guys. Peace.